I'm Kristy Nilsson, and I'm the choreographer for Rapunzel for Atlanta Dance Theater.
And then you shanae out. Shanae, 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 shanae.
Having worked with them in 2009, the full-length ballet I did was Swan Lake, and that was such a joy because the dancers were gorgeous. I've been a freelance choreographer for more than 10 years now, and this is my 5th full-length ballet. I love working with this particular group of dancers at Atlanta Dance Theater. They're so well trained. Here it was 3 years later, and they'd all grown so much. Johnny Kelly and Victoria Lee and all the other staff here have done such a great job of making them the strongest dancers they can be technically, and they're used to performing. They're very artistic. They're used to creating characters on stage, and that makes them fun to work with. 2 down, up, and pas de bourrée, 4th, and switch. It does take a long time to prepare a story ballet from scratch.
Chassé back, tour jeté right, left, soutenu.
The first thing, of course, is creating the storyline and deciding what the scene order will be. And then you have to choose which music will reflect each of those scenes. That takes me as long as the choreography.
Okay, this is it. Let me let you hear it.
After that, then I start on the actual steps. My husband and I estimate that I take about 100 hours of preparation before I have my first rehearsal with the students.
Pas de bourrée, soutenu.
I've always loved the story of Rapunzel as a fairy tale. The inspiration, of course, in addition to loving the story, is that I thought the opportunity to dance with a long 20-foot wig, to do a pas de deux and solos with something like that would create some interesting choreographic opportunities. So I thought it would be a great story. And I found the music by Adolphe Adam, and I thought that the music really reflected the dance as well. The audition process is always fun. That's when I get to first see the movement on the dancers. I'm trying out my choreography as much as I'm trying out the dancers. So I say to the director which characteristics I'm looking for in the dancers. We audition for those characteristics, and then we decide who we felt most conveyed the character as well as the dancing style needed for each role. I think they did a beautiful job and really represented that the choreography was going to work, and I was really excited about beginning rehearsals after I saw them in audition. Generally, when I choreograph a role, I design it with a certain sort of dancer in mind based on what that character, how I feel that character would move. I saw Rapunzel as being very dreamy and romantic. And so I wanted someone that had beautiful long lines, high extensions, and the ability to control slow movements as well as a fast, perky style. So she had to be very well-rounded. Whereas with the Witch and Mizella, I saw them as being very aggressive characters. So I wanted dancers who could jump high, kick fast, who could move very quickly and percussively.
And arching back, and 1. Good. Okay. Going this way towards center. 4 soutenus. 1, 2, 3.
Rehearsals had to move quickly. We've only had weekends in January and February to set the whole thing. And because I teach, we only had 3 hours on most days.
Piqué and arabesque and piqué and arabesque. And that looks actually better with that fabric than I thought it would.
And then Robbie and Johnny and others have helped clean, as we call it, or rehearse when I'm not there, to make sure that the choreography is both remembered and gotten more and more perfected. And when I see the first run through, I'll be able to see if there's anything that's not working. Sometimes there's spacing that needs to be changed, or a particular step that's not looking fluid and needs to be made into something more organic. We rehearse as much as we possibly can. We work until we get it closer and closer and closer to perfection, and when we get it as close to perfection as it's going to be, we rehearse it some more.
Say up and chassé and da-da, and turn and turn and turn. And
the dancers find more opportunities for artistry the more they work on it. They see more and more times where they have a time for connection between the dancers, a time to create a little bit more interest in their character, and that evolves over the time when you're just working together again and again.
This is our goal, is here to finish here. Yes?
Even after the steps are mastered, you still are finding more and more places where you can create more interest to the positions, more interest to the lines, more quality of movement, and more connection between the dancers in the performance. Rapunzel, the character Rachel, who's cast as Rapunzel, is such a beautiful dancer. It's exciting to see her learning how to create a character that's more complex. Rapunzel is more of a romantic and lyrical character than she is powerful. So it's fun to watch Rachel get to find another part of herself and find her relationship with Robbie, as she's never gotten to do a romantic character that has to interact with a man. And it's been fun trying to get her to think like the character, not just dance like the character. Atlanta Dance Theater has a wonderful warehouse full of costumes, a lot of which were actually purchased for the Swan Lake production that we did in 2009. So I did some of the costume designs and drawings and handed those off to Heather Rand, who we call the Tutu Fairy. She's our wonderful costume designer. And so she will take those drawings and from them create something that fits in cohesively with the costumes that we already have. We had a lot of fun choosing all the costumes and designing them. And of course after that, then there's the fittings, which is another huge project, as all the costumes are fitted to each dancer so that they fit them perfectly. Set pieces have been fun. Obviously the set pieces that are most obvious in Rapunzel are the tower and the wig. The tower had to be constructed, and I met with 2 volunteers who are helping build it. What they needed was a ladder with a landing, and of course we wanted it to be tall enough that it truly gave the idea of a tower that cannot be climbed without the aid of Rapunzel's hair. Usually you don't think of a wig as a prop, but in this ballet it really is. There's 2 wigs, one's 5 feet long and one is 20 feet long. So when you're working with something like that, it has to be actually constructed rather than purchased at a costume shop. When we go on the stage, we'll get to work with the lighting and the sets. And the dancers get to see the true spacing in the real stage. Sometimes things are a little more crowded or a little more spread out than they expected. And that can affect the time of how long it takes to get across the stage. So they have to figure out the tempos that they have to travel at, where they need to hold back in the steps, where they need to take larger steps, because each step is already set. They just need to make it work on the real stage.
3 minutes till scene change.
I love choreographing ballets. I love being able to tell a story to an audience. Of course, I love to watch it on stage at the end. I'm always amazed how much it actually looks the way that I imagined it in my head. Rapunzel is no exception to that. It definitely did look the way that I expected it would, right down to the tower and Rapunzel's beautiful braid. I was really excited to see Rapunzel dance with the braid because that is so unique to this production. So I really enjoyed seeing how well that came together. One of my favorite parts were the 4 seasons, the summer, autumn, winter, and spring dances. They did a beautiful job with it. It gave them an opportunity to really showcase their technique as well as their acting ability. The costumes looked beautiful, and so did the sets. And I was very happy with how all the dancers did their choreography.
was very happy with the overall look of the production. I trust the dancers of Atlanta Dance Theater. I knew they would do a great job with it, and they did. They're such wonderful performers. These dancers always light up for an audience. I love to see them come to life when they bring their dancing on the stage.